Why is it so hard to communicate in Berlin? Berlin has been a divided city, still is a divided city. Berlin is multi-layered, Berlin is multilingual, Berlin is extreme. It's a city of extremely concentrated cultural wealth and extreme poverty. And those relations need to be made clear. It is not only Berlin. Everywhere in the world, we see a precarization of life, and this economic and social devastation is more and more visible as we see today more and more people sleeping on the streets. The regulation of financial markets and the public funding of their speculative operations by cheap labor has led to such rises in rent globally that today not only artists but even galleries cannot afford the inner cities anymore. The ecosystem of the arts has lost its source of innovation, which has always been based on the constructive confrontation between the opportunities with economic wealth and the wealth of imagination. So 3 years ago, Alina Kolar, Pavel Sochatsky, and I created a tool for productive conversations between arts and politics, between the rich and the poor, between fiction and reality. Not by charity, but by a much more sustainable device, economy. That means dignifying work, opportunities, and sustainable investments. It's called Arts of the Working Class. It contains no superficial illustrations, no bullshit. It is given for free to anyone. And you can just pick it up on any of our points in Berlin, London, or LA, and you can take as many copies as you want. So how do we finance this? By curated advertisement and media partnerships, like for the most recent issue with the German Pavilion at the 17th Architecture Biennial in Venice and Berlin Questions. What vendors get is a product that people like to buy, not only because of benevolence, but because they want to read it. Also because it really looks extremely good. What we get as Arts of the Working Class is the most intense and rewarding working place that we could ever have built for ourselves and for others. You might wonder what it means to occupy the historically loaded term of the working class. We have faced criticism for playing with it, all lavishly, ironically, and for aestheticizing historical painful depths and gaps and struggles for the mere taste of today's hedonistic escapism. But to be honest with ourselves, the term working class has been hijacked already long ago, and there is an urgency to revisit the problems of those who can't stand for it. So let me tell you a little bit about us. Pavel Sochatsky, sensitive-minded artist, migrant parents from Poland, having endured structural racism in Germany since his early childhood, deals with the mechanisms of discrimination and power deprivation of people in his paintings. Alina Kolar, daughter of a union organizer in Graz, daughter of Slovenian migrants in Austria, experienced the same caravan of underpaid freelance gigs as an art historian, as a curator, as an art critic, as a gallery assistant, crossing the invisible borders of labyrinth without escape, the so-called art world, just like thousands of others, just like I did. Being from Ecuador, my families have experienced what it means to lose everything that generations have built up before. This might contribute to me always giving and asking maybe a little bit too much when it comes to justice and organizing and sharing common goods. At the moment, we cannot afford a comfortable moralizing outside gaze, and we are also not interested in offering comfortable seats in this global spectacle of morals. If we consider the working class as everyone earning less than the average income in Germany is 3,975 euros before tax, it's massive. We are part of it, many of you as well. Arts of the Working Class is called Arts of the Working Class because it counters the invisibilization of class struggle by culture contributing to its joyful escalation. Arts of the Working Class is out there to be distributed not only in Berlin, but also the streets of the world. Today, the concept of diversity is defined from the center. Those who have power say what is diverse and formulate where these marginal positions have to deal with themselves. With Arts of the Working Class, we currently rehearse the opposite, a different model of governance in an effort to redefine union work by a decentralized peer-to-peer model of care. In 2020, Alina, Paul, and I founded the Union des Refusés, named after the Salon des Refusés, that was founded in the imperial Paris in the early 19th century to house all artists that were too progressive for Napoleon III. The Union des Refusés calls for all art workers, from guards to cleaners to successful gallerists, museums directors, to rethink their working relations and their relations to society as a whole and beyond the so-called art world. We care for the shared aesthetic and intellectual infrastructure that we're missing today. L'Union des Refusés implements a method for community building that was introduced by hospital and care workers within solidarity clinics. What solidarity clinics are, phenomenon of the financial crisis in 2007. We take the method from these clinics, the hologram, who groups 4 people together who meet regularly to understand and discuss each other's personal and professional concerns and needs. Everyone serves as each other's coach and therapist, learning not from institutionalized methodologies, but from each other. Questions that we face with our holographic groups are, is this possible without experts? Is this possible without a physical space? Is this possible without money? Is this possible without stability? Is this possible when we are all a little sick? Is this possible when we have been taught that we can only trust experts? So on. L'Union des Refusés meets every 21st of the month, and everybody's invited to join for a union of art workers, but not only that, it's citizenship and decentralized grassroots governance, looking for ways out from the passivity in which citizenship is confined today in a technocratic world. But for now, let us have a look to the current issue of Arts of the Working Class. Over a year now, the German pavilion's futurist vision, called 2038, The New Serenity, has meticulously drafted a story between fact and fiction. In series of films, it tells multiple stories of a near future where things have turned out well. It's been challenging, and it's been a pleasure to edit these contributions together with the visionary preciseness of the curatorial team. You can flip through the pages. I'll be happy to also maybe have a conversation afterwards with you about the many languages and impressions that you can see. You can go into the QR codes and have more of it. You flip to the other side and you have 2021. I'm happy to stand here today among city representatives, empowerers, and take this humbling opportunity to talk not only about the power that we need to change the status quo, but also about the vulnerability we need to acknowledge that we need to survive capitalism. Vulnerability is what carries this issue on the streets today. If you go to the streets and you go to the U-Bahn and the metro, today you will also have someone that might be houseless selling you a paper for $2.50. If you would like to support that, that would be a nice thing to do. If you would like to work together with Arts of the Working Class and let the paper circulate on the streets and reflect on the poverty in your own city, here's our email. Thank you so much.